Okay, so let's look at authoritatively this morning, and they are still saying Bayelsa Imo Kogi elections. Stakeholders express worry on security, credibility of elections, call on INEC security agencies to adopt different security strategy. As IGP INEC assure a free, fair, credible poll, and that is the lead story with the riders.
The People's Daily, Bayelsa Kogi Imo Guba candidates parties signed peace accord Wednesday as INEC chair charged staff on integrity ahead of November 11. That's on page 8 of the People's Daily, bold one there. Forex, Dangote's Pan-African operations fetch Nigeria $688 million.
This Nigeria says psychiatrists say poverty leading many Nigerians to depression, insanity. 2023 report, nearly 12% of world population in extreme poverty live in Nigeria. And some families now scamper for trashed food in waste bins.
News Direct, that's Nigerian News Direct. Market dominance, how Bua Dangote feud threatens investors' confidence, calls for stronger anti-competition laws. That's on page 6 of the paper. And then Serap sues Tinubu over failure to probe a missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil revenues reported by Naiti on page 22.
And leadership is looking at the Naira regains ground to 970 per dollar parallel market. But let's get the drug war. 42 barons, 32 others arrested in 34 months. NDLEA destroys 202 billion Naira drugs, 67 million kilograms of drugs. And you also see appeal court hears Kano governorship case today.
The Daily Asset, experts seeks government support for SMEs to boost the economy. Right, the bold one, NDLEA seizes tramadol, other drugs worth 13 billion naira in Lagos. Arrest 3 visually impaired drug syndicates. And then you have again, okay, I'm still talking about election there.
Standard Times is looking at that story. My focus is on price stability. CBN Governor Cardoso speaks about that. You also want to look at that story just there. Akeredolu's absence on missing out on national engagement, and that's coming from Group on the 3rd page.
Lopsided appointments, Tinubu towing Buhari's footsteps, Northern Group speaking there. Of course, you have that on the Nigerian Express front page. Police in Cross River arrest kidnap suspect while hiding in girlfriend's ceiling.
Well, this day looks at Tinubu heads to Saudi Arabia just about the masted for Arab-African Summit. But what you see there, Fitch, Nigeria's credit rating stable, predicts inflation at below 21%. Lopobri, we will hold NMPCL accountable for complete rehabilitation of all refineries by 2024.
Let's check Nigerian Tribune now. CBN remains focused on price stability. That's according to Cardoso, why Naira regains strength at Forex market. APCON explaining there. Then you have Kogi Imo Bayelsa elections. IGP orders a redeployment of Imo CP, begins distribution of new vehicles, security personnel on page 22.
Blueprint looks at compressed natural gas initiative. Nigeria to convert 55,000 vehicles at discounted rates. That's coming from a federal government. But you look at the below story there. Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi polls, IGP, others release of 220 operational vehicles. Yakubu charges INEC staff on integrity. 6th page.
Devaluation pushes Nigeria's debt to 89.2 trillion naira as the stock raised by 20.6 trillion naira in 5 months. The bold one for the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
And The Guardian says corruption defiance the laws cost investors 1 trillion naira in property loss, and that's on page 6. You can just see the graphical representation there. Talks about 86 million naira plot of land there, wasted 50 million to 60, amongst others. But Serap sues Tinubu over alleged missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil funds on page 4.
Senate moves to shield REC appointees from impending court injunction to transmit 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget to Tinubu on page 2 of the New Telegraph. And then you have 10 banks' profits rise by 155.3% to 1.29 trillion naira.
National Economy gives you a rundown of the rates on Forex there, just below the masthead, but leading with 17 years after Soludo's era. New economic realities may force banks to recapitalize. And then bottom page, you also see there how two fintech founders find their ways into prison.
The Business AM, Africa's bankable projects queue for global investors as AIF holds in Morocco. Nigeria's energy transition shows distinct gaps, lacks a readiness framework. That's according to a report, as it requires $177 billion funding to 2030, and other stories as well. So let's get in our reviewers now for review of the stories. Chooks, this one touched me according to, as it touched other Nigerians as well in our local parlance. Psychiatrists, yes, say poverty leading many Nigerians to depression and insanity, according to a report. This is extremely worrisome.
No, it's true. It's true. It's and I like that human angle, leaving Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi elections to lead that story. It's a very good human angle story by this Nigeria. The truth is, people are going through a lot. And in case, when we come here, you see the glitz and the glamour, you see the facade. It's all the facade because, you see, somebody was telling me days ago that he has over how many persons, who ask him for money every day. And this is the problem you create when you think that all is well with you. Because we're very closely knit society, in Nigeria and of course in Africa, where everybody is his brother's keeper. And I think that's even the reason why depression and suicide, the rates of depression, the incidence of depression and suicide is not as high as it should be. Because truth is, people are going through a lot. I don't think I have to come on national TV to say that. I mean, we live with the people. You see, years ago, before now, if people had cars and they wanted to put up such cars for sale, they wouldn't want that are selling their cars. They wouldn't want, even when they post their vehicles on social media for sale, they normally hide the registration, the license plate. But now people don't even care anymore because people have to eat. People are struggling to survive. I saw the story by Blueprint where government's talking about discounting the conversion of CNG buses. You see, I think so much has been said about these CNG buses that
it is happening.
It's become a cliche, if you allow me to use that word. Since we first heard of CNG in May when President Tinubu removed subsidy on petrol, and the promise was that they're going to flood Nigerians' towns with CNG buses. But you see, people can barely move because the shortest distance in Nigeria now, taxis 200 naira per drop. I mean, when you like 4 behind, and 2 persons in front, and these people have to squeeze people, 6 people in taxis too. And even our law enforcement agents are no longer disturbing cab drivers because if they don't carry 6 people, ordinarily there should be 3 behind and 1 in front. But if they don't do that, they can't even make ends meet. A lot of people, I have people who operate commercial vehicles. Sometimes you see them, go work. I say, no, there's no point. Petrol, it's a problem. It's a problem. And we have to thank our closely knit our social system, our cultures that always helped us to check on others.
All right, so let me wade in here because Chuks Wando is Chris Wando is already joining us virtually. Chris, good morning. We're looking at this Nigeria's lead story. Psychiatrists say poverty leading many Nigerians to depression and insanity. Now, the tragic narrative there in the rider says 2023 report 12% of world population in extreme poverty live in Nigeria. However, the trajectory there is some families now scamper for trashed food in waste bins. How do you respond to it?
Good morning, my sisters. Good morning, Chooks. Yeah, good morning. In fact, when I saw that headline, I was so touched and I was so moved. And the situation in the country, because what we continue to say is those in government feel that we are just shouting and making noise for no reason. But that is the reality, because look at the level of poverty across the land now. It's so unfortunate that so many Nigerians are finding it difficult to make ends meet. Talk less of feeding. Some people go to sleep without food for a whole day. And you look at what some of our government officials are doing and the way they behave. And you come to see that there's a huge disconnect between the leads and the leaders. And that's the situation. At the last point, we have over 130 million Nigerians below poverty level. That is one of the highest in the whole world. And you come to look at a country that is so blessed with so much human and material resources and still wagging in abject poverty. Nigeria is more like an elephant with a clay leg, and that is the situation. And it's not that we don't have enough to go around. We do, but either our leaders are so selfish in their attitude or they don't know what to do. But that is a clear. I even think that it's more that the statistics being given is less than what is happening. We have more than that. We know we're a country without much and enough better. And so I see it more than that. You can, when you look at it from the point of how many Nigerians are employed, how many people have been out of employment for long. We're even looking at that. When you look at that, you come to see that now there are a lot of children out of school because their parents cannot afford to pay their school fees. And that is how bad it is. I realize that our public schools is a no-go area. Nobody is ready to send their children to the public schools now. So it is a big tax for this government to be able to make sure that the issue of poverty is looked at. All the so-called palliative or no palliative, which I have said time with time number.
That's another one.
Yes, it's a total. The issue of palliative that they are talking about is not getting to the right people, and that is the fact, and that is what is happening now.
Okay, so we'll keep interrogating this really because it affects.
And I think. Sorry, let me just quickly add this. To place this figure in context, at 200 million persons, Nigeria is 2.5% of global population, because it was about 8 billion. So if 2.5% of global population has 12% of the world's poor. So, I mean, it gives us a faint idea of what we're talking about. It's a tragedy. It's a huge tragedy.
And the fact that we are not insane, so to speak, but we are taking food from trash is really worrisome.
Exactly.
All right, so but we see what the government can do to take us out of this problem. Let's move on to elections, really, because even though we're talking about this issue in the country, we're having off-cycle election in 3 states in Nigeria, and everybody wants to elect someone who would at least change the part that affects any given state at any given time. And then we have insecurity threatening these elections. I mean, violence all over the place. People are scared even to come out to vote.
Yes, I saw the 2 stories from the IG's interview last night, redeploying the Commissioner of Police in Imo State, which is long overdue. Since the beginning of this year, CSOs have been clamoring for the removal of the CP of Imo State. You see, when you have somebody, you do the same thing and you have wrong, you have a security man, you have a gate man, and each night people come to boggle your house. What do? You ask him to step aside. You have a driver. Each time the driver goes out, he comes back, somebody has bashed your car. What do? You ask him to leave so you get somebody else. I wonder why the CP of Imo State stayed that long. Because he's been there. He's not added value to Imo State. Imo State is the worst hit state in terms of security in the whole of southern Nigeria. And, it's good, like they say, better late than never. But
what happened to NLC? Was it part of what?
No, because had the CP been redeployed before now, I'm sure what happened to Georgia wouldn't have happened. Because, when you come, because fresh people come with fresh ideas. But, I think it goes beyond deploying the CPs or moving operational vehicles to Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. Security agencies, they have to show, they have to be unbiased. They have to show neutrality, which is the basic problem we have. Then also, INEC itself, the electoral umpire, we're still smarting from the glitches of the last general elections. We're still suffering from that. See what the minister of, the trending video of the minister of the FCT is telling us. That one man, because we have thought that, in school, democracy, government of the people, by the people, for the people. But now, a situation where one man comes out to say, I bought forms for everybody. So that means one man determines who gets what, where, and how. You understand? It's a tragedy. Because when we're talking about poverty, there's a direct relationship between poverty, misgovernance or good governance, and poverty. Because when you have people who are liable to be held accountable, or people who can be held accountable, when they are the helm of affairs, chances are that they deliver goods and services to the people. But when somebody, thumps his chest publicly, when I was chief prosecutor 20 years ago, somebody was quoted as saying that he was the godfather of all godfathers. But I think now we have a bigger godfather, because at the time, and I want to tell us how bad things have really become over the past 20 years. When it was reported in the National Daily, interviewed, somebody said he was a godfather, somebody from the Southeast, from Anambra State, said he was the godfather of all godfathers, and everybody in Anambra State, he put the governor, deputy governor, House of Assembly, House of Reps, everybody, Okay. There was so much fury over that. But now there's somebody who's saying the same thing, because it goes, it tells a lot about what's going to happen on November 11. If somebody has told us that he did this and there are no consequences for what he said, so what do we expect? I mean, all eyes are on Imo
and Bayelsa and
Kogi State.
All right, let's quickly get Chris. I mean, you just heard what Chris said. Just to take it away from Chuk said, I mean, they've already signed their peace accord. This was done last week, Wednesday, and it was said that was in good faith, expecting that with that peace accord, there wouldn't be any, rancor or rivalry. However, you're still seeing that sign of worry from the authorities, saying stakeholders express worry on security and credibility of elections. So now, Chris, how do you wade into this? We've heard that the political parties need to take shape and do what's needful and keep their own arm of the commitment, INEC as well. But where is the role of the citizens in all of this?
Yes, Adora, fortunately, I just came back from Imo State. I was there for 4 days, from Sunday to Thursday this week. I was part of the few editors that were invited by the Nigerian police to be part of the retreat and conference for senior police officers from the rank of commissioners of police to AIGs, DIGs, and also IGP. And part of what was discussed was the issue of election and security, not only in the Southeast, but in the entire nation. And I remember reading that the IGP, actually said that all troublemakers should come close to Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi, that they are very, very ready to deal with anybody who try to disrupt the election that is coming up in those 3 states on Saturday. So there's a lot of deployment of security personnel, at least from what I saw in Imo State. But that does not also mean that the situation is totally under control. But I know that the security agencies, don't forget, this is an off-cycle election. Unlike the rest, we only have 3 states. So the police and the security agencies have their work cut out totally. And in terms of with the news, I think we should not misplace that news. The Commissioner of Police in Imo State was just redeployed because of the election. He will be back after the election. He has not been removed. The IGP said that he's redeployed. Yes, his redeployment is just to create some level of neutrality for the election. So the Commissioner of Police by Sunday or Monday should be back on his desk. So he has not been redeployed totally. It is just specifically for the election. And that is not new, because that is what all the IGPs do. When it comes to election, most of the commissioners of police are normally redeployed, others are removed, or other ones are brought in. So that is what is happening in Imo State. But from what I saw from ground, especially in Imo State, which is my own state, is that there is a lot of high wire politicking going on. If you move from the airport, Imo Airport, Owerri, to town, you will see that practically all the posters and listing of the governor, which is the only one that I saw adoring those houses, have been destroyed and brought down. I don't know who the people that have been doing that, but it's only that of the governor that you see, right from Sambakwe Airport to the city center, up to the city center. But the IGP also said that one of the reasons why they brought police, senior police conference to Imo State is also to show that Imo is secured and totally secure. But quickly tied to that is also the brutality that's meted out on the person of the president of NLC. There are a lot of things. Yes, there's a lot of things. Let us establish this part. The 1999 Constitution, Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, gave every Nigerian the right to protest.
All right.
Is that case of,
Chris,
yes.
let's not wade into other matters. Let's focus on the headliners because we don't really have a lot of time. So, in hearing your thoughts and also looking at what you said, I hear you. But let's also look at what Jega has also said. I mean, coming back to you, Chooks, he says Jega canvasses massive overhaul of electoral processes. This is coming from Daily Asset. APC members' appointment as rec counters INEC's independence. 6, compulsory electronic transmission of results. And that's coming from Jega. And you know that he was a former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. And coming from him, one would say that was disruptive.
And we should forget that Jega raised the bar of elections credibility in Nigeria. You know, it was on account of Jega's, the way Jega handled elections, you know, in 2015, that made the incumbent president, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, to say, Muhammad Buhari, huge congratulations, you won. You understand? And that helped, you know, we have thought, and that placed Nigeria on the global map that, you know, we can actually conduct credible elections. But, you know, sadly, after Jega, you know, Nigeria has been plummeting, you know, by the day in terms of elections credibility. I've met a lot of people who have told me that, you see, that they will never cast their ballots, they'll now vote again in Nigeria because, you know, they wouldn't waste their time to go. And I said, no, you don't do that, because that's actually what these people desire, what these elements desire. They want to entrench voter apathy, so that, because if 10 people cast their elections, for instance, in Kogi State on the 11th, you know, that's what INEC will declare. So the aim is to scare people, is to make people, to discourage those who want to vote. Because, you see, it's our right, it's our inalienable right to, like Chris said, to protest, to seek, to demand credible elections, you know, to hold our leaders accountable. And that's why when we come here every day, you know, we say, wake up in the morning to come here to lend our voice. We're carrying out our constitutional mandate, you know, to hold public officers accountable at all times.
Yes.
At all times. In and out of season, we must hold them accountable. So also, because you see, if you have a car and you have a driver's license, you'll be arrested. If you don't pay your taxes, you could be arrested. So the same way, you know, it's a two-way traffic. So I tell people, don't be dismayed. You go out and cast your ballot. It's your right. That's the only power you have, you know, over this people, because you sit down and complain every day. What do you do about it? You go out and cast your ballot, you know, no matter what they do. You go out, and we press our lawmakers to amend our electoral laws, because we saw what happened at the Supreme Court, you know, and several other courts. Look at what's happening in Plateau, where several judgments have been coming out, and those judgments appear to be at dissonance with what the Supreme Court said on the presidential elections. These are all issues for interrogation, you know, every day, every time.
So many issues we'll keep interrogating. But before we go, I would like us to really delve into this particular one. The fact that Bua and Dangote, it seems to be, their competition seems to have turned into feud now, and how that is affecting Nigerians, even threatening investors' confidence, according to the paper this morning. How do you, weigh into this, Chris?
When big men fight, poor men like us don't have any say, and that is the true situation, on ground. But it's just the fight of the billionaires, and they have their reason. One, if the fight is for the interest of Nigeria, oh well and good, I'm good to go. But if it's just for their selfish interest, then oh well and good.
Is it for the interest of Nigeria if he's threatening investors' confidence already?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying, because even threatening investors' confidence, it all has to do with Nigeria. When they are coming to invest, whose life are they trying to improve? What I'm saying in essence is that the fact remains that these two gentlemen, funny enough, they are from the same state, Kano, have been on each other for a long time, and they are juggernauts and they are big boys in the industry. But let us look at it. You realize that from weeks back, Bua came out with an announcement that it was going to reduce the price of cement to about 2,000 something naira. I hope you still remember that. Bua said that it was going to reduce the cost of, because cement is going for about close to about 5,000 now. But there was that kind of misgiving that, he was trying to undercut Dangote and the rest of them. I don't know how, because later on, because some of us I have tried to buy cement in the past, even that of Bua, I couldn't get it for 2,000 naira. And that is the fact. So that means that it's something fundamentally wrong. But it is in the best interest of Nigerians so that they be able to have a convergence, no matter whatever their differences, whatever they're doing should be in the best interest of them. Dangote has come around to issue press statement that Bua is coming up, writing all sorts of fake news and roughing about it. Bua has also come out. But that is not. The fact is that these are the two major. My only concern here is that there used to also be a cement company called Ibeto Cement. That guy has always been a buffer between Bua and Dangote. But now, Ibeto, yes. But Ibeto itself is having a lot of problems because recently I just read that the court has declared him wanted. I don't know for whatever reason. The more we have
naira for money laundering charges.
Yes. Exactly, you got it exactly. So the more we have more people coming to the business and investing on areas like the cement.
Well, Chris, what's really the problem? I mean, Dangote is, from the last time we saw the listing on Forbes International Rundown, he was $14.2 billion rich, and of course Rabiu was about $7.2 billion rich. So is it a matter of who owns more or is wealthier, or is it about the Nigerian market really?
The rich will always get richer and the poor will get poorer. That is, you forgot it. They never have enough. They can never have enough. So that is the issue. Yes, but the issue, as I said, that
you wanted to talk about this before we go in 30 seconds.
Okay. It's about Shylock businessmen. They don't care about us. That's the truth. You see, let me quickly comment on what Chris said. You see, when Bua came, what Bua did was technically he said X factory price, and people didn't bother to ask what X factory price, because we didn't know how much the X factory price was before they came with the announcement. But as Chris said, as of yesterday, I asked a cement dealer, the prices have not changed both for Dangote and for Bua. Like when two elephants fight, it is grass that suffers. So these two men, they keep fighting, and Nigerians suffer for this.
All right, Thomas, thank you, gentlemen, for your time.